Assalamu alaikum and hello to all of you. I hope you all doing well, guys. This is Sidra Bano. Welcome to the demo lecture of IELTS speaking module. In this lecture, I am going to share with you IELTS band score details, structure and format of speaking module, details of all three parts of speaking module, assessment criteria, significance of all three parts, examiner's perspective, reasons of getting low band score, and at the same time, at the end of the lecture, I will share some tips to get some high band score, what actually you need to get. So let's get started without wasting our further time. Once again, welcome to the demo or trial class of IELTS speaking module. Here you are. IELTS, which stands for International English Language Testing System test format. In this test, you will have 1 to 9 band score according to your requirement. Band 9 means expert user, band 8 means very good user, 7 means good user, 6 which means competent user, 5 band means modest user, and if you'll get 4 band, so it means you would be a limited user. Band 3 which means extremely limited user, band 2 intermittent user, and band 1 non-user. Now in this session we will be discussing the structure and format of the IELTS speaking test and providing tips on how to improve your performance and proficiency as well. First of all, what is IELTS speaking? IELTS speaking is a one-on-one interaction between the candidate and an examiner. The three parts give the candidate or applicant the opportunity to use a range of different speaking skills. The IELTS speaking test is the final part of the exam. You can take only your ID document into the exam room. The test lasts for about 11 to 14 minutes. You will be interviewed by an examiner who will record your conversation. Timing is strictly controlled by the examiner, so do not be surprised if he or she interrupts you during your answer. Okay. Now, firstly, let's take a look at the format of the IELTS speaking test. The test, once again, what I said, consists of three parts and it takes around 11 to 14 minutes to complete. Part 1 is an introduction, where the examiner will ask you some general questions about yourself, your family, your hobbies, etc. This part lasts for about 4 to 5 minutes. Part 2 is a task where you will be given a topic and asked to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. You will have 1 minute to prepare before you start speaking. And part 3 is a discussion where you will be asked more complex questions related to the topic you talked about in part 2. This part lasts for about 4 to 5 minutes. Now we have assessment criteria. The aim of the test is to assess your ability to communicate effectively. The interviewer considers this ability in 4 different ways. Number 1, fluency and coherence. Number 2, lexical resources. Number 3, grammatical range and accuracy. Number 4, pronunciation. All criteria have equal weighting. The IELTS speaking test is a way to measure your ability to communicate in English. It's not about using fancy or difficult words, not at all, but simple and fluent English that can be easily understood by the examiner. Number 1, fluency and coherence, which means how well you can speak without hesitation, repetition, or self correction, and how well you can link your ideas and sentences together. Number 2, lexical resources, which means how wide and accurate your vocabulary is, and how well you can use different words and correct your different words and expressions to convey your meaning. Number 3, grammatical range and accuracy, which means how varied and correct your grammar is, and how well you can use different structures and tenses. Number 4 is pronunciation, which means how clear and appropriate your speech sounds are, and how well you can use features like stress, intonation, and rhythm. Now, which part is the most important? The simple answer is that the three parts are not scored separately. The examiner rates the student's performance as a whole. In this sense, neither part is more important. However, it's useful to think about the three parts like this. Part 1 is supposed to be quite easy, like a warm up. So you won't get a high score if you only do well in this part. Part 2 is when the examiner really gets a chance to assess how good you are. He or she will now have an idea about what score to give you. During part 3, the examiner is making his or her final decision. A good performance here can boost your score definitely. What are they looking for? If you know what is important to IELTS examiner, it improves your chances of success. These guidelines refer to every part of the speaking test. Stick to them and you will satisfy your examiner. Number 1. Speak without long pauses. When you are when you are trying to think of something to say, so try to speak without long pauses. Number 2. Understand what the examiner asks you and confirm that by answering accordingly. Number 3. Demonstrate that how many good words you know. Number 4. Use all the tenses when you speak, past, present, and future, and use them correctly. Number 5 is pronounce the words correctly. For instance, for example, the word culture should sound like culture, not culture. Number 6 is this is very important. Accent has nothing to do with pronunciation. Both are different things. So it will not affect your score. Keep in mind. Now, the most important point is why students fail in IELTS speaking test. You know, one of the most common reasons students fail in IELTS exam is due to a lack of preparation or practice. IELTS exam is not easy and requires a good amount of practice and preparation at the same time, especially for students who are non-native English speakers. Another important point is major reasons why students don't achieve a band 7 in IELTS test. Some important reasons now I'm going to discuss with you. Here you are. Number 1, they think there is a magic formula for acing the exam. Number 2, they book the exam when they are not ready. Number 3, poor study ethics. And number 4, poor answer development. Number 5 or last is not receiving the correct teacher's feedback. Now, how can I get good marks in speaking test? Number 1, don't memorize answers. Number 2, don't use big and unfamiliar words that you do not sure about that. Number 3, use a range of grammatical structures. Number 4 is don't worry about your accent. Number 5 is don't take long pauses while you are thinking to speak. Number 5 is avoid using fillers such as like and all right. These are the fillers, so avoid to use them. Number 7 is try to extend your answers with additional information. And number 8 is smiling helps pronunciation. So these are some important points. If you follow the given points, I assure you would be able to get your desirable band. Now, I'm going to share with you some tips how you can get your desirable band. Tips for the speaking test. You know, many people agree that the secret of success in this speaking test is being confident and creative person. Does it mean that others will fail? No, not at all. This test is predictable. Use the following tips to prepare yourself to what is coming, and the confidence will come definitely. Tip number 1: speak clearly and fluently. Try to speak at a natural pace and avoid speaking too fast or too slow. Make sure that you are speaking clearly and are easy to understand. Tip number 2 is use a wide range of vocabulary. Try to use a variety of words and phrases to express your ideas and your thoughts clearly. This will demonstrate that you have a good level of English vocabulary. Tip number 3 is be confident and relaxed. Try to relax and be confident during the test. Remember that the examiner is there to listen to you and they are not judging you personally. Tip number 4 is manage your time effectively. Time management is the key to get a high band score in IELTS test. Remember it. So make sure you manage your time effectively during the test. In part 2, use the 1 minute preparation time to plan your ideas and structure your speech. And try to use maximum time in your speech in speaking. Now, another significant point is keep it simple. This tip refers to the whole speaking test, in fact, your whole IELTS test. Don't start long and complicated sentences if you do not know how to finish them. Keep your sentences simple and words understandable. If you make grammatical errors, it's okay to correct yourself, but don't overdo it. You must sound fluent. When you hear a question, your mind automatically draws an image with the answer. You can describe this image in your own language, but when you start to describe it in English, suddenly you do not have enough words in your vocabulary. So try to think of what part of that image you can describe. Do it and stop there. Don't let yourself show what words you do not know by answering incomplete sentences. Now, this is the advertisement of our IELTS speaking module. Currently, we are offering IELTS General or Academic 4 modules package. So if you are interested in this course, definitely let me know if you want to join with me, if you want to prepare with the help of my strategy and methodologies. So I would assure you, you would be able to get your desirable band with the help of our special session. I can differentiate myself with the rest of the institutions because I worked hard. I really worked hard to compile my own notes from different sources, from different magazines, from different books, from past papers, from generals, so that many people can avail this opportunity and get their desirable band. So if you are interested to connect with me, one thing that I can really assure you, your time and your research will not going to waste. You really would be able to learn something to get your band what actually you need it. I hope today's small lecture is going to very helpful for you. You definitely learn some new things or some significant things that will play their crucial role in your preparation. And if you follow the given tips, you would be able to secure your good score. So thank you so much. I hope um, I delivered something new for you in today's lecture. So thank you so much. It's time to sign out. Sidra Bano here.